Tonight on SportsBuzz, we're going to take you through the madness that was the Elite Eight. USA brings home the World Baseball Championship and find out some of the moves teams and players are making in the NFL offseason.
Welcome into SportsBuzz. I'm Mario Miranda alongside Allison Gaskins. We're both coming off heartbreak losses.
Yes, Madison Square Garden was a tough place for me on Sunday watching my Gators lose to South Carolina.
You had them going to the Final Four, huh?
I did. You know what? They got really close, so there's nothing I can complain about over here. It's also in the SEC, so I guess I can take it with a grain of salt.
Well, I dyed my hair blonde because I thought Team Puerto Rico was going to take it all the way, so my heart's still broken. I'm here just trying to make it through the show, so you're going to have to help me.
Hey, I'm ready for it.
We're going to ease into the NCAA tournament, so we're not going to start with Florida because we don't want to bring that up right off the bat. So, where are we going?
Yeah, the madness that is March, a total of 68 teams entered the tournament just weeks ago, and only 4 remain. We're going to start off with what has gone down in the West. Making its 20th NCAA appearance, Gonzaga entered a top seed and have made it to the Final Four for the first time in program history. Also becoming the first West Coast team to make it that far since San Francisco in 1957. But they had to take on the number 11 seed Xavier, who was coming off a hot win against second-seeded Arizona. So let's check out the highlights. We're going to pick up action in the bottom of the first half. Gonzaga with a 7-point lead, making it 9, though, with this dunk by Jonathan Williams. And maintaining this lead, here's leading scorer Nigel Williams-Goss with a 3-point jumper. He'll have a 23-point game. But back to Jonathan Williams, again from inside, this time with the layup. Then Williams-Goss will add 2 more before the half, giving his team a 10-point advantage. And he is on fire. He is looking to knock down another 3 right out of the break. And guys, it just rolls in. You saw it. That's exactly how this game went. Gonzaga kept on rolling, shooting 50% from the arc compared to Xavier's 12.5. And just like that, Xavier's March fairy tale comes to an end, while Gonzaga moves on to one of the greatest stages in all of American sports with their 83-59 win over Xavier. Mario, why don't you tell us what's going on in the East?
Well, what seemed like it would be a 2-team race in the Eastern region turned out a lot different than many fans expected. With the top 2 teams defending champions Villanova and favored Duke bounced in the round of 32, the fans at Madison Square Garden were in for a wild, unpredictable ride. The likes of underdogs South Carolina and Wisconsin emerged from the ashes alongside Florida and Baylor after a blowout by the Gamecocks and a thrilling buzzer-beater win by the Gators. 2 familiar SEC foes faced off to crown an Eastern region champion. Allison, I'm sorry we're going to make you relive this right now.
I'll watch with one eye open.
We're going to start early in the 7-minute first quarter. Sindarius Thornwell in the paint working. He's working in there. Boom, SEC Player of the Year. They are up 20-18. At the half, Florida went up. They went into the half winning. Sindarius Thornwell. Now we're going to look at Chris Silver with the little floater. Fall back. Boom, they're looking hot. Then we're looking at Kenyon Barry. You know this kid, right?
He shoots those underhand free throws just like his dad, Rick.
Of course. Why wouldn't he? We're back. Sindarius Thornwell. He's a beast in there. He's looking good. Then later on, Kayvon Allen with the drive.
Kayvon, overall great player. One of my favorites.
And here, Chris Chiozza.
Chi-Chi.
The
Chris
hero,
Chiozza.
the hero last week.
Hey, he just made history his last game. It went everywhere. He was on Good Morning America. He just stepped up his game to a whole nother level with that buzzer beater 3-point heartbreaker for the other team.
So then we see South Carolina beat you guys 77-70. Sindarius Thornwell, 26 points, 7 rebounds. SEC Player of the Year. He looked great.
I don't know. I don't think we saw all the Florida highlights on that game, but we played a really great game too. I think some of the calls were a little questionable in my opinion.
You were talking about the foul situation?
Yeah, the foul situation, that double bonus really killed us there at the end.
All right, what region are we going to next?
All right, we are going to move over to the Midwest region. Very talented, where Kansas was sitting pretty comfortably as the top seed and essentially playing home games, being that their regionals were located in Kansas City until the Ducks came along.
Quack, quack.
So picking up action, middle of the first, game is tied at 12. Peyton Pritchard with the spin move there found Jordan Bell for the slam. They're up by 2. Then Dylan Ennis with a 3-point jumper. He'll have a 12-point game. Oregon's up by 8. But Frank Mason returns and answers back the favor with a 3 of his own, cutting down the lead to 5. However, Oregon was not giving up their lead, and with seconds left, Tyler Dorsey adds a 3 and sends his team into the half up by 11 points. And Dorsey continues just as strong back in the second with his layup, stretching the Ducks' lead to 15 points. But, Kansas is playing catch-up this entire game and wasn't giving up. Here's Frank Mason again, going the length in the court this time to add 2. But Tyler Dorsey says no way and knocks down another 3, adding to his 27-point game. And the Ducks knock off the top-seeded Kansas with a 14-point win over the Jayhawks. And here's a final score, 74-60. So the Ducks are headed to the Final Four, making this their first trip back since 1939, when they actually won the inaugural NCAA tournament against Ohio State.
The Buckeyes.
The Buckeyes.
That's a long time ago.
So why don't you take us over to
the
South?
The region of death, this was called. Was Dayton misseeded? Did the Breast blow the game again with Seton Hall and Arkansas? Many think they did. Why were UCLA and Kentucky set up to play so early on in the bracket? The South certainly presented many questions for fans and critics. This is how it panned out. Number 5, Minnesota, was upset by Middle Tennessee. They've been there, they've done that before. I predicted that in my bracket, actually, to be honest. Kentucky was taken to the wire by Wichita, the Shockers. And then they beat UCLA and Lonzo Ball and his dad. You be quiet, LeVar Ball, by 11. The only 1 versus 2 seed in the matchup in the whole tournament. And man, was it everything that any fan could have asked for. Let's see that highlight. We're going to start off early in the first half. Coach Cal, Roy Williams, 2 legends. Senior Stillman, White, baseline, reverse layup. They're up. Then Malik Monk, the phenom. He's going to the NBA. We all know that. He hits the 3 from far. Lewis Mays, right here from Kennedy Meeks, little backdoor pass. I feel like we're going to see him again later on in this highlight. Now we're looking at Darren Fox. I talked about those phenoms, that freshman. He's killing it. Right here again, Malik Monk from far. I like these kids. I think they're going to do really well. But here, this is where things really got interesting. Malik Monk hits it. They're tied. But Roy Williams, he doesn't call timeout. He pushes it right down the floor. He gets it to Lewis Mays, and that's your game winner with 0.3 left in the clock. Practically, that's it. They beat him 73-75. Justin Jackson led the way for UNC, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. And those freshmen, those phenomenal freshmen, 23 points, 13 points apiece. UNC, they lose. And UNC moves on, 75-73.
Tough loss for the Wildcats and that huge fan base they have with them.
And now we're going to take a look at those. We talked about those freshmen. We're going to see what they have to say after the game.
It was tough. We had a hell of a season. We went through that stretch and we lost those games, and everybody talked about, how we looked like we didn't care, and this isn't the locker room that looked like the guys don't care. I love my brothers, man.
It is so rare to get that much emotion out of these college athletes.
Especially these freshman players where, we think they don't care because they're going to move on to the NBA.
One and done
That's
guys. Pretty common over at Kentucky.
So we welcome in the professor, Will Mayer, into our studio set.
Yes,
the college
Will, thanks for joining
basketball expert.
Thank
He's
you.
an expert. You're Duke Blue Devils. I'm sorry. Another one who's mourning a loss.
We're all mourning. We're all mourning.
I want to ask you first off with these one-and-done freshmen. We saw Lonzo Ball. He immediately said he was going to declare for the draft. He really didn't show no emotions. You know, Darren Fox and Malik Monk crying after the game. What does that show you? Does that show you anything different about these one-and-done guys? That, you know, we think they don't care, but...
No, I think the true reaction, particularly by De'Aaron Fox, crying, really showed you how much he poured into this season for Kentucky and how much, even whether he declares or not, and he probably will declare at some point, he committed to Kentucky and he committed for this season, and it meant something to him. It's really hard to say with some of these guys, even though their dreams are in the NBA, they still want to commit to this year. And when you get as close as they did, Kentucky in that case, and then lose on a last-second shot, that's a tough one to take.
And you know what, keeping it with this Kentucky-UNC game, but also moving on to the Final Four, what advantage does Roy Williams have in this tournament?
Okay, so we were looking at the Final Four, and we were talking earlier before we started that Roy Williams has actually coached 520 minutes in
compared to the other non-existent numbers for the other
zero.
Coaches. Zero.
All three other coaches have coached 0 minutes in the Final Four. So what does that mean? It could mean a lot, and honestly, it might not mean anything. Well, I think what's much more important on the experience factor is the fact that North Carolina was actually in the championship game last year, so the players have the experience. While Roy Williams and his coaching strategies showed in the last game when he decided not to call timeout, and he's consistently done that throughout his career, his players were ready for him to not call timeout. They went through, they made sure that they followed through with the play. They didn't get rattled at all. So I think it's helpful that the coach has been there, but I think it's actually more important that the players have actually been there before.
Okay, so we've seen, we know who's our Final Four at this point.
Yep.
Who do you see moving on to those final 2 teams?
So this is tough because obviously once you get this far, you deserve to be there.
Absolutely.
Most teams are relatively healthy, so that's good. There's a couple wild cards out there. We have Sindarius Thorwell today came down with some sort of bug. They're not going to tell us what it is, so hopefully with fluids and a couple more days, he'll be okay, because that's a huge piece for South Carolina. And Joel Berry's battling some ankle injuries, certainly for North Carolina. And Cruce Boucher has been out all tournament for Oregon. Many people thought that's why they wouldn't advance. However, if I stay on that side with North Carolina and Oregon, that is a hefty matchup because Oregon's defense has been phenomenal. What they did to Kansas, as Allison pointed out, in Kansas City was a phenomenal victory. At this point, obviously, they can pull up the upset. Carolina has much more experience. They've been there before. If Joel Berry is healthy enough and can run their offense, they would be expected to pull that game out.
Okay.
On the other side, it's pretty much a pick-em of defense.
Two top defenses.
Two top defenses in the nation.
South Carolina, yes.
And South Carolina's defense has been absolutely incredible, but what's propelled them this far has been their offense. Their defense is so consistent every single year that it's basically allowed them to get this far, but they put up 65 points against Duke in the second half of the tournament, of that game, and they shot 70%. And if they continue to do that, they're going to keep moving on, and they have.
Who's going to win it all? What are your
predictions?
So,
I think it's a pick-em on both sides, but I will say that I believe that Gonzaga will end up playing North Carolina.
Okay.
And it pains me to say this, but I believe that Joel Berry will be healthy enough and that North Carolina probably will cut down the nets at the end of the day. Yes, as a Duke fan, that pains me to say.
Tobacco Road rivalry.
Honestly, though, this could easily be South Carolina versus Oregon, and Gonzaga matches up with everybody because they're just as deep and talented as anybody. So it really is a pick-em at this point.
Well, I mean, it's definitely going to be a fun weekend of games, and we're definitely looking forward to see how it plays out.
I only have one request.
Yes, what is that?
The referees, please let them play.
Thank you.
That's what we all ask.
That's all I'm calling for over here.
As fans, that's what we all ask. Will, we thank you for your time. Yes. When we return to Sports Buzz, we're going to look at some baseball. Baseball season's coming back. I know we've been talking a lot of WBC, but now the games matter. I mean, not that they didn't matter before, but we'll be back on Sports Buzz.
SportsBuzz is brought to you by The Vitamin Shop. With over 300 locations nationwide, shopping has never been easier. Use a convenient store locator or shop online at vitaminshop.com. Hey everyone, welcome back to SportsBuzz. Major League Baseball opening day is just around the corner, and the preparation has been a bit different this year, with some players getting a late start because they have been playing in the World Baseball Classic. Mario is sitting down with our baseball analysts to break down what we should expect to see come April 3rd.
Allison, thank you for such the pleasant introduction. We welcome in now our baseball analyst, Kyle DeVico, Iona College's finest D1 player to come out ever.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. The
season's starting now. Let's get to business. Give me a quick rundown of the divisions and what you've seen during spring training so far.
Oh, it's certainly been a great offseason and spring training in itself. Let's hop right into the AL East. The Red Sox, what a splash they made with trading for Sale. Yeah, they gave up Moncada, one of their best prospects, but you're getting Chris Sale, arguably the best left-handed pitcher or top pitcher in the game today. You're getting that back. Yes, you're giving up your best prospect, but in Sale, you have two aces now with him and Price.
Does Price's, injuries so far concern you at all? Does that, you think that he'll last coming down the stretch? I mean, it's a 162-game season. We all know that. So does that concern you?
Certainly, it's always concerning when a pitcher's arm is hurting. It's never good at any time. But the best time for injuries to happen is the beginning of the year. Like you said, it is a long season. I think I would be worried if this continues and goes on into July and August when we get ready for playoff time, because I think the Red Sox are obviously going to be up there. I think they'll run away with the division. So I think you need a healthy Price in order to make a deep postseason run.
Okay, so let's just move on to the NL now. Which division is the most impressive and it's going to be, the funnest to watch this year, you think?
It's interesting you asked that, because the best team I would say would be the Cubs. But the most exciting division to me is the NL West, because you got the Dodgers and you got the Giants. I could argue that the NL East will be pretty good too, but I like the NL West because it's not talked about enough. You got guys like Kershaw, Bumgarner, Cueto, young stars. Yeah, I'm just talking about Dodgers and Giants now. We can go on. You've got Paul Goldschmidt, guys no one really talks about. And I think a lot of the times these teams are some of the best teams in baseball, and I think that's a division that can be deep and a division that, I could see the Giants winning. I could see the Dodgers winning. Anything could happen.
Okay, so which one of these teams, we're talking all MLB, we're back to all MLB. Which one of these teams is your sleeper for the year? Last year probably didn't have a great year. Now, this year they're looking.
I think you got to watch out for the Astros.
My guy.
The Astros. First of all, Jose Altuve, is always a candidate for the MVP. Phenomenal player, does it all for you. He's the engine that makes them go. Not only that, they got Carlos Correa, who is one of the best shortstops, and if not the best young prospect in the game today. He could go off. If he has a big year, these Astros they could win the division, they could make some noise in the playoffs. I think what is most important, though, is Keuchel. Keuchel, a little bit of a down year last year. If he gets back to his Cy Young form, and he gets a little help from other starters, I think you're looking at a team that could make a nice run in the playoffs.
All right, so it's a two-part question here just to end this segment on a nice note. Who do you have winning it all, and who do you have winning the MVP on both sides?
Okay, I'm going to start with the MVPs. I think this year is the year. Last year we saw Mookie Betts come into his own. This year is the year Mookie Betts takes us all by storm and wins the MVP. I think you're talking about a 300 hitter, 25-plus home runs, and going to light it up RBIs. No David Ortiz. Someone's going to have to step up. It's going to have to be him and Bogarts. I think Betts has a huge year, wins the MVP.
He does it all.
In the NL, I'm going to keep it original. Clayton Kershaw. It's a safe pick, but you know what? It's a smart pick because Kershaw, you know what you're going to get. He's like the taste of water, okay?
Yep.
He's going to give you good starts every time. He's going to give you the opportunity to win. He's going to have a great ERA. He's not going to walk guys. And I just think that the Dodgers, this could be the year they make a deep run. But going back to my prediction, I like what, any broadcast network would love. Fox, you name it. The Red Sox against the Cubs in the World Series, and the Cubs are coming out on top for their second in a row.
They're second in a row.
Second in a row.
They don't win one for 108 years.
And they're going to win
two in a row.
Yep. God's hitting us with the big Cubs train.
Well, I'm sure you're going to catch a lot of people by surprise with that pick.
Right.
Kyle, thank you for your time as always. When we return, we're going to, the NFL season has been a carousel so far. The offseason has been a carousel. What teams are moving? What teams have moved already? What players are staying? What players are moving? Everybody's moving. We'll be back here on SportsBuzz. Welcome back to SportsBuzz. And as I teased earlier, everyone's moving. The Rams went to Los Angeles. The Chargers are going to Los Angeles. The Oakland Raiders have been talking about going somewhere. So with more on that, we have Allison Gaskins with our very, very special guest. He's always opinionated. We all know him. Allison, take it away.
Thanks, Mario. Yeah, a lot has been going on during this NFL offseason, if we can even call it an NFL offseason, because I feel like they're constantly making headlines regardless of having their offseason. So you know what? Let's start off with the Raiders leaving Oakland again. First time to Los Angeles back in '82, this time to Las Vegas. For more on that and to help us kind of break it down and help us understand why they're making this move, we bring in our NFL insider, Franco Micheo, the man who knows it all. So Franco, what are you thinking about this move? They're moving to the gambling capital of the world pretty much. Is it going to possibly be able to corrupt the Raiders or corrupt the NFL as a whole?
In my opinion, not at all. I believe like gambling at this point in 2017 has become so normal in people's minds. It's one of those things that lost a little bit of its taboo that maybe it had back in the 80s and the 70s. Gambling nowadays, if you want to gamble, you can find it on the internet. You can pretty much do it from wherever. Las Vegas is kind of like a symbol for it. It's fun to go do it. But players nowadays with social media, with all that, they're such professionals. Because if you're not, everyone's going to find out. So I don't think the Oakland Raiders are any sort of risk for any corruption or gambling or any of that sort.
Well, they have a huge fan base in Oakland for the Raiders, and they're leaving their city again. Their vote was actually 31-1 for the move by team owners. Why do you think that they're making this move, and why do they pick Las Vegas?
Dollar signs. That's pretty much what the NFL follows. That's fish bait for them. Like it's one of those things where Las Vegas offered like $700 million in public subsidy. They got a $600 million loan. They're going to build a $2 billion stadium. So in Oakland, where you're not getting any profit from your ticket sales or any of that stuff, when you move to Las Vegas, you're actually going to start generating some more revenue. And the Raiders owner, which he's not, he's wealthy. He's really wealthy, but for like the Rams owner who's worth like $5 billion, for him, it's a much needed cash influx because that allows him to maybe spend more on some players, and then you can start doing some stuff with your roster that makes it more interesting. So for them, it's a good move. Yeah.
You know what? I'm done hearing about these team moves. So let's move on to some big name players who are still looking for a job during this offseason, starting with one of the best, arguably the best running backs, Adrian Peterson. The Vikings declined to renew his contract. Yeah. So claiming it as a financial decision, what are your thoughts?
The NFL is rough. It's rough especially on running backs. Once you get over that 30,
yeah, because he's 32.
Yeah, that 30-year-old threshold, you're pretty much done in everyone's eyes. Adrian Peterson, I feel like he still might have it in him. He's a little bit of a headache just because he's a big star, and I'm guessing he's going to command some sort of attention. He's going to expect playing time. And I think it was a good move from the Vikings then. He didn't really give them that much last year. They have a pretty good roster. I don't know. He might. Someone's going to sign him.
Well, yesterday he was actually spotted training with the Bucs quarterback coach and Jameis Winston. You know, what do you think about that? Could he fit in the Bucs organization?
He could. They have right now an issue with Doug Martin. He was suspended for 4 games for the substance abuse policy, so that pretty much allows them to cut him without paying him $7 million that they owe him. But the thing is, are you going to get Adrian Peterson for less than $7 million? You already got Doug Martin. You got Jacquizz Rodgers there for a couple pennies and a walnut. So at this point, to pay Adrian Peterson $12 million, I don't think the production is worth what you're getting.
So Adrian Peterson, great athlete. He does have a couple things going against him aside from just his age. Also the domestic abuse issues he's had to go through.
Child abuse, actually.
Exactly. So what do you think the impact that is also having on him getting a contract?
You know what I actually think?
Because there's all these rumors saying he's the one choosing not to sign right now, but I'm not so sure.
at the end of the day, who knows? I think the child, whatever issues he had with his child, I think he hit him with a stick or with something, which is which is nothing we want to endorse here. But I think that's a little bit in his past. If Adrian Peterson would produce like the MVP Adrian Peterson, he would be getting $15-20 million, no question. It's just a matter of teams seeing that 32-year-old on his birth certificate, and the production is not there anymore, or at least it wasn't last year.
Yeah.
And injuries and all that factors in. So I think that's even more so than the issues off the field is what preventing him right now.
Okay, and so moving on to one of the fan favorites of the 2016 season, everyone was talking about him, Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Is he being blackballed, by the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if fan favorites, definitely not team owners' favorites. I think it's one of those things where, yes, I think he's getting blackballed, but I don't think it's as simple as just.
Think he's going to come back and be a starter somewhere?
At some point, yeah, I think because he played pretty good last year. Like he had like 14 touchdowns, very few interceptions. So if you're just going on the field production, last year is not like a good reason for no team to sign him. Like Josh McCown is getting deals. So it's just a matter of. It's just not that black and white. There's a gray somewhere there in the middle where if he would be Tom Brady, maybe someone would sign him. But the fact that he's borderline starter, borderline backup, and teams just don't tolerate a circus surrounding their backup quarterback. Even if we agree with it or not, the circus, it's a matter of the distraction for some team owners might be a little bit of a headache. So yes, in my opinion, he's getting blackballed, but I don't think it's that simple.
All right, well, thank you, Franco, for your insight on all of that. I'm sure next week we'll have a whole new list of hot topics for you to break down for us. But, it's time to burn a timeout. But stick around because we have highlights from the biggest baseball game yet of this year, the championship of the World Baseball Classic.
SportsBuzz is brought to you by Berkshire Hathaway. Prudential Home Sale is now Berkshire Hathaway. New name, new look, same great company. Welcome back on SportsBuzz. I'm Mario Miranda alongside Allison Gaskins. This is the part I've been dreading the whole show. I just don't want to talk about this game.
We can talk about your hair color change if you'd like to talk about. Never mind. Same thing about this game. Can you give us actually a little history on that, a little background on the hair color change? Was it
Well, Puerto Rico's, everybody, if you were watching the tournament, they all dyed their hair blonde.
Yes,
so I made a bet with my mother.
In unison.
In unison to unite the country together. And I made a bet with my mother that if they won the Friday night before, I'd dye my hair. And they won, and I dyed my hair. I kind of like it.
Mario, but as promised, we do have highlights from this game. The World Baseball Classic Final, USA taking on Puerto Rico. So let's check out those highlights.
Yeah, I guess let's see it. It was a beautiful venue. I mean, it was sold out. We take it right to the first inning, and Ian Kinsler goes yard to center field. Kike Hernandez had no shot. Off a Seth Lugo, he went yard. They go up early, 2-zip. Stroman was pitching for United States, and he was absolutely dealing. He just shut them down. After Puerto Rico just, put their bats on him the week before, he shut them down. Here, Brandon Crawford puts one into the gap. Kike gets it in. Now the United States is up 6-zip, and it's just at this point, they're just beating the crap out of them. Correa grounds out to Nolan Arenado, who should have been on Team Puerto Rico. Adam Jones, United States, enjoy. You won your first World Baseball Classic.
Did you see how proud they were? Doesn't that make you feel a little bit good inside?
I can, because I was so in on this team.
Yeah.
I was so in. And the fact that their bats just didn't show up during this game is what really distraught me. But after the game, Adam Jones had some comments, and that didn't sit too well with the country, with Puerto Rico or with myself. Let's hear what he had to say.
Last time you guys played Puerto Rico, it wasn't easy. Was there something said before this game going into the championship?
Should I tell the truth?
Yes, tell the truth. We want to know.
Tell the truth? Well, before the game, we got a note that there were some championships shirts made. We didn't make them. And a flight that didn't sit well with us. And a parade. It didn't sit well with us. So we did what we had to do. Stroman went out there and gave us his all. The players, they battled. The offense swung the bats. Hey, and we brought it home for the United States.
And there you had it. He said the truth, the brutal truth of what he took from the pre-printed shirts, which as I believe or as I've been told, they print them for both teams. So how did you feel when he about this comment, I guess?
Well, I remember sitting there and listening. I was already, pretty mad the team had lost or sad. And just hearing that comment kind of made my stomach turn. Just having family back in Puerto Rico and knowing how much this tournament meant to the team. It wasn't about winning a championship. Yeah, it would have been nice to win a championship, but the team did still go out and celebrate with a parade and an airplane, after losing the way they did. So I just felt like he should have researched a little bit more of the situation, and instead of going on the podium like that in front of the world and kind of calling out a whole country. So it didn't sit right with me.
From another side, I do think that he was kind of on a high from the game, and I do know players, you can hear the littlest comment, and it can just set you on fire and give you the energy that you need to one-up the other team or to swing a little harder, to throw the ball a little faster. And I think that's kind of where he was going with this, and I think it came off completely inappropriate. I don't think he meant it like that. But I mean, who knows? Who really knows? But they did come out with the victory. Regardless, sometimes they're sore winners, sore losers. But this baseball tournament altogether, I think it's a great idea. I think it's causing a lot of countries to be able to come together, just like in the Olympics in the sort, to be honest. And so I think it's awesome.
And it's introducing new countries to baseball. I mean, we talked a couple times on SportsBuzz about Israel. Who would ever thought Israel would be a baseball team? And they advanced and they beat the Cubans, who have a long history of being great baseball players. So I definitely think this is a good idea. I love the tournament, obviously, and it didn't end the way I would have liked it to have ended, but it was definitely fun, and I'm looking forward to 2021 when all the countries get together and we're playing baseball to this level in March. That's also fun, seeing baseball at this level in March. So.
No, I think it's amazing. And you know what? We've actually run out of time, Mario. I'm sorry.
We
can stop talking about this game. We can stop talking about the Gators losing. It is time to go to leave tonight.
We're leaving. Are we going home?
I don't know. I have to work after this, so. No, but thanks for tuning in tonight, guys. We've had a great episode of Sports Buzz, and we will be back next week, so be sure to tune in.